What's up, Patreon? Hi, we're back. I am so excited to talk about the huge failure that Eunji and I have just experienced. We took out our show called Night Sweats. Let me preface this by saying we've only met with two people.
Right.
And two organizations. And you know what? This is a long-term thing, this idea.
Right.
Right? So Night Sweats is a show. It's a late-night talk variety style show where we do like celebrity interviews and games and such. And, you know, the crux of that piece is that we're in a Korean spa and we take them in hotter and hotter rooms as we ask them
hotter and hotter questions. Yeah.
Right. So, you know, come on. It writes itself. But no one likes to give us money.
Even though we're asking them so politely and
so
with
charmingly.
So with so much charisma.
Yeah.
And yet somehow they resist.
Yeah, we met with All Things Comedy,
yes.
which is Bill Burr and Al Madrigal's company.
Mm-hmm.
They liked us, but they didn't like us enough to go in this direction, to invest in us, basically. Because we're asking for people to invest in this idea. It's not just like put your name on it, because we can't make it ourselves. We could, but we would be breaking the bank.
Yes.
And like in the poorhouse. So like this is just a great idea for someone out there with just a little bit of money. Just resources.
Access to capital. You know, that's all we're looking for.
Who wants to be connected to culture? Like, where are you?
Proximity.
Where are you at?
Yeah, like we want proximity to capital. You want proximity to our charisma. Like this is a mutually beneficial, this is a symbiotic relationship. So we have yet to find someone that wants to be in the symbiosis with us.
Yes. It's not that they're not out there. And you Patreon members might be the right people to have that network. So like, keep this in mind. Keep us in mind. But, you know, we went out to Dropout TV as well, who really seemed I thought they were super into it.
I actually thought it was a lock. I was like, okay. I was kind of like, okay.
You were like, home run, bitch.
We got this. Okay. I was like, okay, get off your knees. My dick isn't out. Like, that's what I thought.
You look pathetic.
Arise, okay?
Yeah. Dust yourself off.
You're embarrassing yourself.
You're embarrassing me. But no. It wasn't to be. And here's what they told us at the top, that they don't develop outside of their company. They don't take pitches. They don't take ideas.
I mean, it was like this was a very unusual thing for them to even sit down with us.
To sit down. Yeah. And we were like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know you from Joe. So like, that's cool. But the fact that they did sit down with us, I'm grateful that they even took the time to listen to us. They did that cursory offer of like, you know, if you ever want to do stuff with Dropout TV, we'd love to like have you like fold it into the family type of thing. And
sure.
Which I would actually love to do, but you know, we were there to sell a show. So we're back to square one, and we're looking for financiers. Like, why is it so hard to find rich people, Eunji? Like,
yeah, I didn't
Is it
realize...
because we just hang around the wrong people?
Are we hanging? Is it you? Because I mean, we're looking for financiers. Are any of you financiers?
I don't know. I don't know one financier.
I do not know a financier.
Yes.
I don't know one financier. You know, it is strange because, you know, this is sort of like the behind the scenes of it all. Like we do this podcast, we do comedy. We're all operating on so many different cylinders, and I think sometimes when people see. It's very easy to just get consumed by doing comedy and having a job and kind of like hoping. But the fact that we're trying to package something and sell it, I think is good, right? But, you know, it requires us to take away time from the other stuff then. And, you know, I hope that people who are in the industry understand that we're doing this because we need your money. Financiers, please come help us, because we don't. I mean, like, the thing is, like, of course this show would be so much fun to do. That's the reason why we want to pitch it, because it would be so much fun. I don't know what's happening in the landscape, because I don't even think that any show right now is like, there's so few shows getting greenlit or moving forward. It feels crazy.
I know. It's a tough time. It's very bleak.
So if you know any financiers, we would love to hang out with you.
But here's what, though, like, things ebb and flow, and it's not like things aren't being made. It's just harder. And, we just got to work a little harder, I think. And, these days I've been really trying to think about, like, what does another career look like? If this career doesn't work out because a hemorrhaging, but it seems like every industry is hemorrhaging. Like, I just don't understand how anyone's finding a job. Like, my friend's a geologist and he can't find a job. You know what I mean? Like, he studies rocks and stuff.
Is mining doing bad?
I guess everything's doing bad, I guess. So, like, it's a great shrinkage, and except for, I guess, live comedy, but that seems to be, like, booming.
Mm-hmm.
And people are really, I think, okay, here's a crazy thing. This is crazy. A friend of mine is thinking of starting a theater, opening a theater, a bar theater, like IO.
Okay. Where?
In LA. And I was like, maybe I'll consult.
Yeah.
I've opened, owned, and operated an improv theater before.
Right.
To great success, and I could probably help you out a little bit. But, like, I couldn't take it on. But a friend of mine is very very, very seriously considering.
Is she a financier? Does she want to financier the...
I think she could figure it out.
Sure.
I can't speak on her behalf, but whatever. She'll figure it out. But that's been her dream forever. Now, I started Endgames in San Francisco because I wanted a place.
Yeah.
So I feel her feel. I understand her hunger. I understand her, yes, and her need, and that, like, we've seen, like, Elysian Theater kind of pop up and take on this thing, and it's like there's nowhere to hang out at the Elysian. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like she really wants that space, like the IO cab, where it's like bar, cabaret, boom, 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 right there. You hang out after your show. There's another show going up. Like that kind of, like, Chicago feel.
The third space is vital.
The Lodge in Chicago. Very
the third space is yes, it's vital. The third space is vital to any community.
Because you want to retain. You want to just talk about the art you experience.
Absolutely.
You want to be nerding out about the next thing. Or like, who's coming in next weekend? We better stand in. Like, because that feels ripe right now with AI and TikTok and blah, blah, blah. Like, really disassociating all of us. Like, it feels like that that flow time of that, like, early IO feels. Seems like it's, like, about time to, like, ramp back up. You know what I mean? Like, everyone losing their jobs. Everyone's out here fucking, like, what the fuck are we going to do? How feeling disconnected. Like, it does feel right. Now, is LA the right place to figure that out? Possibly. There's a lot of creatives out here out of work.
Who would love to...
Not just performers, but, like, editors, color correctors, composers. Like, everyone's out of a job. Everyone. Like, so it might be, timing-wise, right behind the ball to invest in a space right now?
I mean, what do you think is going to be? Because I was just talking about this. Because I do understand like the vitality of a third space, especially in LA where there aren't too many of those. Even any other theaters that have opened up, like Second City and IO, they didn't work out because of the. I mean, because the brand wasn't strong enough to sustain in those secondary markets.
And they were on Hollywood Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rent just became undoable.
Right. They thought it was going to be like a marquee institution, as opposed to
like a Second City in Old Town type of thing.
Right. But it just, the brand didn't translate into those kind of spaces. And it wouldn't have anyway. Even if it was anywhere else, it probably wouldn't have. But I mean,
UCB did.
In New York?
In LA.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Huge.
It is huge. It's like the thing.
Yeah, and Groundlings, but yeah.
Maybe it's like a New York LA thing. I don't know. I mean, Second City, we'll see what happens with the Second City in New York too, which is supposed to be pretty like they're really pushing it.
Yeah, my friend went out there, Jacqueline.
And
the show out there.
Oh, really?
She's having a great time, yeah.
Yeah, I know. My friend is also on the main stage there.
The cast?
And it's and it seems like a much more New York type of review. Much more in keeping with like the
edgy and
edgier,
fast
yes.
And,
yes.
Okay.
So
because I will say my friends went to ETC.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go recently? The most recent
one? No, but
one?
I've heard.
You've heard reviews?
Mm-hmm.
My friend who does not watch like comedy too much said it felt like a college class presentation. I was so upset. I was like, what?
I mean, and they're paying $80. They're paying $80. It's not the tickets.
$80 a ticket?
The tickets are not cheap. It's almost $100.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
and they're getting a class project.
I mean, it's supposed to be not.
I mean, you know, yeah. When your company's bought out by an equity firm, like, what the fuck do you think?
And when everybody's afraid of losing their job, this goes to like what we're talking about in the industry. I wonder what's going to happen, especially with AI and how it's going to progress. You're describing it. For me, we kind of discussed it when it first came out, but that it might just get rid of the middle. So only the extraordinary and young upstarts will remain. Like the disparity between the two will just, the gap will widen. Same with the rich and the poor now and everything. It's going to be stratified. Mm-hmm. So like the move towards live, kind of like organic, real experiences might only occur in the live space. Because anything that's kind of regular.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. I do think it might be it.
That's why I'm wondering like if it's time to like, you know, like how everything is cyclical. Mm-hmm. Like we've clearly look at this fucking election year, but it feels like this might be the right time to invest in live theater before it like pops. Because once it pops, it's too late. Like that's what happened with like the improv boom and everything, and like everyone came in too late, and then you know everyone went out of fucking business because they were like, "Let's buy 3 buildings," and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Anyway, I mean, so you know, if our friend Benda starts that, I would love to consult. You know, be part of the theater, obviously the community. It's a hard thing to do. You know, I've done it myself. I single-handedly created something, and that was the hardest thing probably I've ever done.
And that continues to this day. That continues to this day.
And that has nothing to do with me. That's whoever is continuing it.
No, but I'm saying like the fact that the thing that you created was strong enough.
Yeah.
you know, to be built upon in this way, that is really something like a testament. Like it like pisses me off that you don't talk about it more. Like since we're doing it on the Patreon, yeah, like it actually pisses me off. We're like oh whatever. And like you sold it for $1, like all this like sort of stuff that's like great about. You're like, oh whatever, I'm a horrible person. I'm like, bitch, like you did this thing, you sold it for $1 when you.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
you're not burning bridges. You're creating them.
No, I mean. It is what it is. Like I don't talk about it because I don't think about it. You know what I mean? Like it's not front of mind for me. It's something that I left when I left for Chicago, and I really did like a 마음의 정리. You know, like I folded that part up and said goodbye, literally for $1. Like of course I have fond memories, and if they ever ask me for anything, like if I can do stuff, like I love to help out and whatever. But it doesn't. I guess like I don't have any like strings attached to it, so like I don't really talk about it. But it is something I did and I left, and I think because of that, if I were to do it again, I know the mistakes I've made. I know the thing. Obviously the market's changed, but it's almost like it might be a more fertile market with AI. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be less distractions for live. Like it's all gonna look and feel and smell the same on these Google glasses we're gonna be fucking walking around in. And then
by the way, I know people that are doing sets inside of that space,
the virtual space. How does that work?
So they all
do they hear laughs?
Yes.
How?
Because when their avatars or whatever laugh, they're like able to like do that.
So are the comics wearing the goggles too?
Yes.
Oh wow!
So it's your avatar, and you're living and like performing comedy in a club in this space.
But where are you actually? In your house?
In your house.
Wow, that's cool.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, if I could do comedy and be at home, that's awesome.
I mean,
not that that's the only thing I want to do, but like. If it's like an additional thing, I can like tack on.
Yeah, I mean it's $15. You get $15 a set.
Or like virtual bucks or
no, I don't know actually.
Real?
Yeah, because you do spots and it's a club and like people go and it's like guy was
like
it is
I would do it.
But it's so bizarre because to me like we were just talking about on the other Patreon about how organic and like real a laugh is. Yeah. I wonder what that like that presence and that like dirty present communion between you and audience, that is why I'm there. Like whether it's good or bad.
Yeah,
with the VR,
it is happening. It's just virtually. Yeah, it's not like a physical space.
It's antiseptic.
I bet it's like. I bet it's like a little better than Zoom shows. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I imagine. Like, a tiny bit cooler than doing Zoom shows. Because, the laughs you're getting at Zoom shows, like, you're getting laughs, but it's not real. It's like, whatever. But it was the best thing we can do. I'm sure those Google glasses will come in handy our next pandemic. Because... the sky will be scorched
when we're all in our bunkers laughing in our VR.
Anyway, come out to see our live shows, guys, please. Portland, Seattle, May 23rd, 24th. We love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Hi.